Welcome friends to another r/AmITheJerk video. We've got a lot of hard-hitting questions here today, and our first one's from Nanny Need a Break. Am I the jerk for saying no to my boss after she asked me to watch her kids this weekend? So my 22-year-old female sister is getting married this coming weekend, and I'll be gone Thursday to Sunday. I've had this known that I was going to be gone for 7 months. 7 months! I would even remind every month or so just so I knew she knew. I nanny 2 amazing kids who are 6 and 8. This is the first time I've ever had to ask for some time off. My boss has always been like, "Oh yeah, sure, sounds like a beautiful wedding." However, I got a text 2 hours ago saying she really needed me this weekend and she couldn't find anyone else. I was pissed, but I know how to act calm since, it's my job to stay happy and calm. I texted her back a quick apology, but said I really didn't want to miss my sister's wedding as she's my only sibling. Well, boss woman went off the deep end and said that if I didn't show up to watch her kids this weekend, that I won't have a job come Monday. I replied with this exactly. "I'm so sorry that you're having a hard time looking for someone to cover. I can reach out to a few nanny friends I have and see if any of them would like to pick it up. This is a once-in-a-lifetime moment for my sister, and if it means I'll lose my job, then sadly I have to accept that. I love this job and your kids, and I hope we can work something out. I think it would devastate kid, but do what you need and I'll accept that." She threw a few insults at me and said that I'm abandoning her kids. I don't know what to do. I don't want to get a new job because I work so well with these 2 kiddos. My mom told me that I was a jerk for so quickly accepting that I might get fired and told me that work just sucks sometimes and you have to suck it up. Mom says that I should be an adult and just miss my sister's wedding. I don't know, should I? Am I really that big of a jerk for saying no? I think OP is definitely not the jerk for saying no, and OP was saying they very clearly told well in advance that they wouldn't be able to help out during that time. Would you guys say that OP didn't fight enough for the job? Pretty much jumping straight to, if going means I lose my job, then I'll just accept that, and not pressing hard enough to go and also still keep the job? Or do you think being blunt like that is just the right thing to do anyways? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Our next story is from Fabulous Lychee 8469. Am I the jerk for not wanting to invite my autistic sister to my art show? I, 18-year-old female, got into this prestigious art show that I'm really excited about. It opens up on Friday, and there's going to be a party, but I didn't tell my family because I didn't want my sister, 24-year-old female, to come. Long story short, my sister's autistic. She's really smart. She went to an Ivy League school, but does not do well with social cues. Usually this leads to her belittling me and being mean. My parents always tell me to get over it and that since she's autistic, she can't help it. But she doesn't unleash on them the same way that she unleashes on me. So I don't think they really understand. Every time something good happens to me, she just kind of craps on it, or me, and she never ever apologizes. Anyhow, my parents found out about the art show and got mad at me for not telling them. They told me they'll be coming to the opening with my sister since she's currently living with us. I ended up breaking down and begging them not to bring her. I worked so hard for this. And since she thinks that my paintings are silly in the first place, I know she's going to try to bring me down in front of my friends and teachers. I asked if they could just wait until after the party and go later. The show will be up for a week, but they said they'd be coming to the party. They also said I was being ableist by wanting to exclude my sister. My sister found out and started screaming at me and calling me a jerk for not letting her share in this moment with me. From my point of view, I just want to have a happy night and celebrate this accomplishment, but I don't know. Everyone in my family's pissed at me, so maybe I am the jerk? I think OP's not the jerk, and I think they're being a little misguided about the autistic aspect of it. I think the bottom line is more just the sister's unaware of social cues and bullies OP essentially, and I don't think they're a jerk for not wanting that around. Our next story is from Throwaway 666-00000. Am I the jerk for not making my wife cover up at home? I'm 28-year-old male, so my brother came over with his wife yesterday and spent the night with my 27-year-old female wife and myself. It's worth mentioning that I come from a Muslim family and my wife does not. When my brother and his wife arrived, my wife was just getting home from work, so she was wearing scrubs and her name badge. While I made polite conversation with my brother and sister-in-law, my wife went to change clothes. It's also worth mentioning that my wife has tattoos, piercings, dyed hair, and stretched ears. Very much your stereotypical goth girl. Once she was done, she came back into our living room in a tank top and a pair of shorts. My brother averted his eyes, but my sister-in-law couldn't stop looking at my wife. My wife has a tattoo from her thigh to her ankle on her left leg, and a tattoo on her calf on her right leg. My wife finally noticed and asked my sister-in-law, "Like the tattoo?" To which she simply blushed. My wife smiles and tells her, "You're fine, I'm used to the stares. You forget how many tattoos and piercings I have." My sister-in-law and brother both asked her how many. She has 7 piercings and almost 20 tattoos. The evening continues, and during dinner, the conversation turns to my wife's tattoos. My sister-in-law asks if she's planning any more, and my wife tells her yes, she's currently working on a full back piece. My brother rolls his eyes and continues to eat. Shortly after dinner, we're getting ready for bed. It's worth mentioning that my wife sleeps in a shirt and PJ pants. At no point is my wife naked or semi-naked. Before we go to bed, my brother comes into our bedroom, and my wife's in the process of having me put tattoo lotion into the tattoo on her back. She has her shirt pulled up in the back, but has her arms over her chest covering herself. My brother sees this and runs from the room. My wife's embarrassed, but I tell her not to worry about it. It's his fault for not knocking. Once I'm done, I go out to see what my brother needed. He tells me, "I shouldn't see your wife in a state of undress. You need to be a husband and tell her to cover up." My wife did not need to see her body. I did not need to see her body. I tell him he should have knocked, and it's not my fault or hers. He and his wife left early the next morning. I've been getting a lot of phone calls from him and my parents saying my wife is a loose woman and she needs to cover herself. I tell them she doesn't and to leave her alone. My parents and brother now want an apology from both of us. So, am I the jerk? This is very much, I think, a cultural thing, but bottom line, I think OP's definitely not the jerk, and OP's wife has the right to wear whatever they want as long as they're not illegally indecent. Our next story is from Rose on the Floor. Am I the jerk for getting mad at my mom for making my girlfriend sleep on the floor? My girlfriend Rose and I have been together for 4 years, and she's 5 months pregnant with our first child. My mom seemed to really like Rose, or at the very least tolerated her, but after we announced that we're expecting, something has definitely switched in her. She's become extremely rude and disrespectful towards my girlfriend. She makes passive-aggressive comments at every chance she gets. I've had to take a step back from my mother until she fixes her behavior. Rose had gone to visit her family who lives far out of town. It was a very last-minute trip, and she drove herself to the destination and back. Unfortunately, at around 6 p.m., her car broke down and she was forced to pull over. Fortunately, my brother Chris, who's great with cars and lives about an hour and a half from where Rose was stranded, was willing to pick her up and sort everything out. I was out of the country, so I'm grateful that my brother sorted everything out for her. Chris moved back in with my mom about a year ago. Obviously, the situation wasn't the best, especially considering the tension between Rose and my mom that exists for no particular reason. But I hoped my mom could put her pettiness aside for at least a night. It was too late for Chris to drive Rose back home, so my brother told her that he would drive her back tomorrow morning, an arrangement that my mom seems to not like, but one that she managed to keep her mouth shut about, my girlfriend tells me. Rose helps prepare dinner, wash up, and actually engage in a decent conversation with my mom for the first time in ages. However, they mostly avoid each other. Chris goes to bed earlier, leaving my mom and Rose. My mom lives in a 2-bedroom apartment, and since both bedrooms were taken, Rose assumed that she would be sleeping on the couch. She apparently assumed wrong. My mom gives Rose the thinnest blanket ever and basically screams at her, telling her that she has to sleep on the floor to not ruin her couch. She tells Rose to make do with the pillows on the couch and the blanket that provides 0 warmth. Rose thought about protesting, but ultimately decided against it. According to Rose, my mom kept opening her door to check if she was sleeping on the couch, so she couldn't even try to sleep on the couch. At 5 a.m., Chris found Rose on the couch and let her sleep on his bed. He ended up telling me, but told me not to make a big fuss out of it. I did the exact opposite. I called my mom very angry and told her that she was disrespecting her so badly. She tried to defend herself by saying that she didn't harm the baby, and it's okay for pregnant women to sleep on the floor. but I refused to hear any of it. Chris agrees with me but told me that I shouldn't make it a fight. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Am I the jerk? I think OP is definitely not the jerk. Who has a perfectly good couch and tells them, no, you gotta sleep on the floor. You can't ruin my couch. Ruin your couch? What? This whole behavior is like one big screw you from your own mom. I'd say forget it. If she can't respect the mother of your child, she doesn't even deserve to be involved in things, especially when Rose didn't even do anything. Our next story is from TA Concert Gay. Am I the jerk for leaving after my sister kept calling me gay in front of my girlfriend and not paying? I, 30-year-old male, have been together with my girlfriend Linda, 29-year-old female, for over 4 years and planning to propose. My entire life, I've been very private about my relationships since my family would get very nosy. This weekend, I've invited my family and my girlfriend out for dinner, which I was comfortable to cover. During the entirety of the dinner, my sister Chloe, 34-year-old female, wouldn't stop calling me gay. She's been persuaded that I'm gay since I was 16 and would always say something about it. This time, she was saying how I'm using my girlfriend as a cover and that I don't need to be hiding this as they're all family. I've asked her multiple times to stop, as her saying all of this was making my girlfriend really uncomfortable. And it felt like she was disrespecting her and our relationship since I'm a straight man. My sister, however, would not stop, and it got too far by saying that I'm in a secret relationship with one of my best friends, which nearly made my girlfriend cry. I had enough of this, took my girlfriend, left more than enough money to cover the bills for myself and Linda, and left. This also means my family now have to cover their own food and drinks. After we left, they would bombard me with messages and calls saying I'm a jerk who can't take a joke and for leaving them to pay for the dinner when I invited them out. Am I the jerk? If the family all those years sat there and listened to that sister say those things, despite your protests to get them to stop saying that stuff, then I think, yeah, you're not the jerk. If they can't respect you, they're not worth your time. By the way, if you're enjoying these stories, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below so you never miss any of my daily videos. Each one has awesome stories like our next one from Sailor Angel XO. Am I the jerk, 24-year-old female, for not lying about my profession? This happened hours ago and my mind is boggled. Me, 24-year-old female, my fiancé, 28-year-old male, went to his best friend's, Alex, 30-year-old male, and his now fiancée Nell, 27-year-old female's, engagement party today. Essentially, at the engagement party, I was talking to an older lady who had spotted my iron ring, because she was wearing one as well. An iron ring is presented to engineers in Canada once they graduate. And I was asking her a whole bunch of questions about her career, which field of engineering she's in, etc. Turns out she was Nell's future mother-in-law's sister. Then Nell and Alex came over to say hi, and I congratulated them both. Then Nell's mother-in-law's sister and I continued our conversation, and Nell spoke up and said, why are you lying about being an engineer? Don't you work at Victoria's Secret or something? And I was like, yeah, I used to work at Victoria's Secret when I was in uni, but now I work as a software engineer. And then Nell started laughing a bit and said, no, you don't, stop lying. And everyone visibly got really awkward. My fiancé came over and greeted everyone, and Nell continued to berate me in front of everyone, saying that I was lying about my job, and how my fiancé shouldn't be enabling me to lie to everyone by saying that I'm an engineer. I then told her to stop, and I stood my ground and said, I would never lie about my job. I worked really hard to get where I am. And then Nell got extremely upset and started saying that I'm ruining her engagement party. I'm making everything about myself and that someone like me cannot be in that field of work. My fiancé got upset and asked Alex if Nell was drunk or not because what she was saying to me was out of line, and she has no right whatsoever to speak to me like that. Then me and him both left early and I kept on getting calls and texts from her friends calling me a witch for being standoffish. My fiancé got a call from Alex asking us to not make this a big deal, and my fiancé told him we're not going to communicate with them any further until Nell apologizes to me. I think they're not the jerk. I don't really understand what Nell was going on about, but especially the comment where they said, people like you can't be in that field of work. Makes you want to say, well, what the heck is that supposed to mean? Are they talking women? Are they talking they don't think OP's smart enough? Is OP too pretty for the job or something? Either way, I think OP's not the jerk. This next story is by Practical Finding 472. Am I the jerk for cursing my brother and his fiancée out for not including a mother-son dance in their wedding? My brother's getting married to his fiancée in a month, and we've just been informed that my mom and my brother won't have a mother-son dance in their wedding after a request of my future sister-in-law. The reason? My future sister-in-law hates my mother. She's actually jealous of her and the bond she has with my brother. She's basically pulled them apart, and my brother barely speaks with my mom anymore. She'll have a dance with her dad, but my mom won't even have a dance with her own son because my sister-in-law decided that. I told my brother how absurd that is, and he said that it's a choice they mutually made and we have to respect it. I'm not buying that. My mom's been crying all week long about how she won't dance with her son on the wedding, and how she feels like she's losing her son to my sister-in-law. Not being able to keep seeing my mom like that, I called both of them and started cursing them out about how ashamed they should be, and how that we're his family, his sister, his mom. We were here before, and now he just brushed us aside. Our relatives told us that we're the jerk for trying to intervene in their wedding choices like that, but I'm not sure if we are. As emotionally painful as it may be, OP's brother did state it was a mutual decision they made. So either you accept that and deal with them having the wedding they mutually agree to, or you argue and be a jerk trying to control aspects of their wedding. This next story is by Contrasta. Am I the jerk for signing up my girlfriend for a social etiquette class before meeting my family? Girlfriend and I have been together for a little under 3 months, and we agreed it's time for her to meet my family. For some context, I'm blessed and had a fortunate upbringing. My girlfriend, on the other hand, faced some challenges in her life from a young age, particularly financial challenges. She's a beautiful, interesting person despite all of the hardships she's faced. The only problem is that she lacks the manners that my family typically expects from someone I'm in a relationship with. My girlfriend is the first less fortunate woman I'm dating. For that reason, I made the effort to prepare her for her first dinner with my family. I got her signed up for an online social etiquette course and thought this was a good idea. However, when I told her, she was absolutely furious. She claimed that I'm obviously embarrassed to be with her and that I should just marry a rich girl instead. She even accused me of being just another white privileged guy. To make matters worse, she said that it's racially insensitive of me to feel the need to teach her how to behave. So, am I the complete jerk here? Explanations are more than welcome. I think OP is the jerk because it's pretty clear that they are obviously embarrassed. Unless OP's mom is like the Queen of England, I don't think there's gonna be too much concern, or at least I think there shouldn't be much concern about your girlfriend's etiquette. Unless you're worried that your girlfriend's going to show up with their hair a mess and stains on their shirt, say what's up and try to dap up your mom and your family, sit down and start going at the spaghetti with their bare hands. Unless you're worried that's going to happen, then yeah, I think OP's the jerk. Our next story is from Sure Contribution 15. Am I the jerk for freaking out at mother-in-law for wearing my wedding dress? My husband and I had a fairly casual wedding. It wasn't what I wanted, but I was pregnant and we couldn't afford more at the time. I'm that girl who always dreamed of a big, fancy wedding. Mother-in-law made it clear that she wasn't paying because she was mad at us. Now, obviously I didn't expect her to pay, but it was like she wanted me to know that she was mad. My dress was a maxi with some beading. It cost about $300 and was formal without being too bridal. We're staying with my in-laws right now, and mother-in-law is having a mega surprise baby as she was told she couldn't have more kids. She's really excited, but also being rude about it and acting like it's a do-over baby, and acting like my husband's irrelevant because she wanted a girl the first time and is now getting one. Mother-in-law asked if she could borrow something because her friends planned a surprise shower and she doesn't have any nicer dresses that fit. I still have a lot of maternity stuff and said yes, went to work, and didn't think about it. After work, I checked social media and she was all over my feed wearing my freaking wedding dress. I was shocked and immediately felt violated. I began to cry and I called her, but she didn't answer. When I got home, she was home and out of my dress. I asked what the freak she was thinking and she was like, huh? I screamed at her that she wore my wedding dress. Mother-in-law replied that I said she could borrow something. I said, but not my wedding dress, are you freaking stupid? Mother-in-law told me to stop yelling and started whining that it was a fancy shower and she's too lazy to shop for maternity clothes. I yelled back, "Which? You don't even have a job." Her husband told us both to calm down, and I was like, well, where is your wedding dress? I want to cut it. Mother-in-law claims she doesn't care if I cut it as her wedding's over and said I'm acting like an idiot. I get this was some stupid fancy shower, but it was a freaking wedding dress. I cried for a while and I'm still pissed, but mother-in-law swears I'm overreacting and crazy. I think both sides are being jerks here. The mother-in-law should never have worn the wedding dress, straight up. OP being argumentative and saying that they want to go cut mother-in-law's dress and exploding the way they did was probably over the top. I don't know, do you guys think OP's not the jerk, or are both sides jerks? Let me know what you guys think. Our next story is from Pretend Instance 1532. Am I the jerk for telling my mom she's too old to be crying about a man? I'm 15-year-old female. My mother, 37-year-old female, had a baby 6 months ago, and she's been acting very sensitive about everything. It's really been annoying for me, but I've tried to be tolerant with her. The issue is that yesterday when I was hungry and wanted to order a pizza, I found my mom in a room crying. It's not weird for her to cry, she's been very emotional, but this was different. She was really crying in a very intense way. I asked her what happened, and she told me. She said after putting the baby to sleep, she went to see my dad and tried to kiss him, but he didn't let her because she said she smelled like baby puke and that he was busy working. I became frustrated with my mom. She was a grown woman crying because of a man not kissing her. It's so dumb. I haven't kissed anyone yet. Should I be crying all day? I told her that I was hungry and asked her to be more mature. I just said she needs to start acting more like an adult again. She's been distant since that moment, barely talking to me or dad. I think that maybe I was too harsh on her, but I was just being honest because I'm tired of her acting like this. Am I the jerk? I think OP is being the jerk in this situation. And frankly, this might not be something OP can really understand until if or when they had a child of their own. I'm definitely no expert, but I'm imagining 6 months after having a child, there's a lot of emotions that can go on. I know postpartum depression is a real thing. I mean, let alone how you're just feeling trying to raise a 6-month-old baby. I imagine it can be really easy to be pretty emotional. And frankly, it sounds like nobody's really caring too much about giving her some support. This next story is from Helpful Virus 2356. Am I the jerk for giving my brother a kiss on the cheek in front of his girlfriend? I'm 26-year-old female. My little brother, 24-year-old male, invited me to come to a restaurant to celebrate his birthday with a dinner with his friends, our little sister, our parents, and his girlfriend. The dinner was super delicious, but since I didn't really know his friends and girlfriend too well, I kind of just talked with my parents and little sister. I had to leave early and sleep early because I had a doctor's appointment very early in the morning after the night of the dinner. Before I left, I gave my brother a hug and a kiss on the cheek and told him I loved him and said goodbye. And I went back home. I woke up this morning to a text from my parents saying that my brother's girlfriend got really upset over me kissing my brother's cheek and threw a fit at the dinner. And she apparently herself left the dinner early and hasn't texted or talked to my brother since. My brother told me it's in no way my fault, but I can't help but feel guilty. I think OP is definitely not the jerk here. I think it's pretty clear the girlfriend is being way over herself mentally. I mean, if this is something that girlfriend has a hard boundary on, okay, sure, but it's unequivocally her issue. And I think overall what OP did was completely fine. In fact, OP doing this might have opened the brothers' eyes to just how troublesome that relationship might be. Our next story is from Catrafia AITA. Am I the jerk for not babysitting for my brother and for kicking him out? So I, 19-year-old female, am currently in college getting an ornithology degree, and I'm absolutely swamped. My parents don't really take my school seriously because they think nobody actually cares about birds except crazy old ladies. Now, my brother, 31-year-old male, has a 4-year-old with his girlfriend. That's fine, and I like my niece and I'm fine hanging out with her. The issue, though, is that he recently lost his job and he and his girlfriend moved in with me. Which is fine, I'm always good with helping family out, but they've started expecting me to watch their daughter all the time because you don't even have to leave the house, it's not a big deal. Like, all the time. I'm fine with babysitting her once in a while, but they've started asking me to watch her while they know I'm in classes or at work. So today, my brother asked me to babysit her again by texting me while I was at work. I was annoyed and tired, and I'll admit I sent a text back that was quite rude. I called them both lazy and said they must be idiots if they couldn't care for their own kid for one day. Then I turned off my phone for the rest of the day. When I got home, I was going to study for a quiz I have tomorrow. But as soon as I stepped in the door, I saw the place was trashed. Now, my apartment isn't very big, but I make sure to keep it clean and well organized. And this mess was definitely not mine. My brother and his girlfriend were out somewhere, as was their daughter, and I decided I was done dealing with them. I picked up all their stuff, boxed it up, and put it in the hallway, then studied and ate dinner. At around midnight, they came back and started yelling at me the second they opened the door. I got up, kicked them out, and turned my phone off. But I turned it on 20 minutes or so ago to talk to my friends, and I'm getting spammed by my family with messages calling me selfish, a jerk, etc. And I'm starting to feel really guilty. Am I the jerk? I think OP's not the jerk because it's pretty clear that they're taking advantage of your hospitality and your general availability. Even when you are there and even when you can, that doesn't mean that it's fair at all for them to lump their kid on you and expect you to babysit them whenever. And our final story of the day is by NoCustard6739. Am I the jerk for showing my friend a topless pic of my girlfriend? A while back, maybe almost a year now, I had a get-together with a close group of friends. It was 5 of us, including me and my girlfriend. I go way back with all of them, so my girlfriend is the outsider. But they've all gotten to like her, 3 guys, 2 girls for reference. It was a great day, so we were hanging around the pool. No one else was out, so my friend decided she wanted to sunbathe topless while we were hanging. She then said she didn't want to be the only one, and looked at my girlfriend, the only other girl there, and told her to join in. I gave my girlfriend a look like, if you want to, go ahead. She eventually gave in and took her top off. I decided I had to get a picture of those 2. I told them I was taking the picture, and my friend said go ahead. My girlfriend ain't saying nothing, but she smiled at the camera. So come a few days ago, I'm just going through my phone and I see the picture. I was with one of the guys who was there, and I show him the picture and was like, remember this crap? And we both just started laughing. My girl was there too and asked what picture we were looking at. I told her it was from that time at the pool a while ago. She asked to see it and I showed it to her. She didn't say anything, just handed my phone back to me and walked away. I didn't think of anything, just went to go sit back down. After my friend leaves and it's just me and my girlfriend, she has a bit of an angry look on her face and asks me why I showed him that picture and that I shouldn't be showing all my guy friends her inappropriate photos. I was confused by this for a few reasons. 1, he was there to see it live and in person. 2, I didn't show them to my friends, I literally only showed it to him. 3, she was okay with me taking the picture. It wasn't some intimate, inappropriate photo, it was just a funny moment with friends. I told her all of that, and she said that in the moment it was her choice to do it and let him see her topless, but that I was doing something without her consent and that he doesn't really need to see the picture again. It's not like I sent him the picture so he had it for himself. I'm still the only one who has a copy. I don't see what she's tripping over. She says that it's a problem. I don't think I was out of line. Am I the jerk? I think what she said has a lot of merit, and I think OP is the jerk. First of all, you don't really know how truly comfortable she was in that moment. In the moment, she didn't say no to participating and in the picture, but yeah, like she said, that doesn't mean that she's saying yes, you can show it to even the people that were already there in that moment. I think before ever showing anybody, even if they were there to witness it, a picture like that of your girlfriend, you'd want to make sure it's okay with them to actually, I don't know, just whip your phone out and pull that up. What do you guys think? In this moment, is OP clearly a jerk? Or considering the other guy was there, is it okay? I'd like to know what you guys think. But with that being said, that's all the time that we have for today. If you have a favorite of all these stories, let me know which one and why in the comments down below. And if you haven't yet, if you could like and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. Whatever you do, whether it's liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, all of it helps grow this channel and I appreciate the heck out of it. So until next time, I'll see you all tomorrow with some more stories.